Hello and welcome to the second part of the Neeko fan art, the Shai Han Scrolls skin. I'm Ellen and this is the second part to a two-part series on one illustration. This one took substantially less time than the previous one because I started off using the same body base that I did for the Winter Wonderland picture. It really helped me to keep them centered and keep them the same looking. And then when I had to edit her arms and bring her hands in to form the energy ball, I just maneuvered them and then redrew the hands. And I think it turned out really, really well. I had a bit of a struggle working on the hair because I had to try and make it look like clouds, and I managed to get it in the end, and I thought that it looks really funny and fluffy, but yeah, it was quite a struggle to try and make it look both like actual hair and poofy. But the end result speaks for itself. The armour was really interesting to draw because it was such sharp shapes with mixtures of swirls and sharp lines. It was very interesting to try and figure out how to make it look natural and fit it to the body while being a stiff object. The lighting in this, it was kind of a challenge, but one that I really enjoyed. Having the lighting being from underneath had to make me work harder to get the shading on the face to look right, when usually I'm used to either side lighting or lighting from above. You see me using my own hands as a reference for this. I currently have that cardigan over my head to try and noise cancel the noise from the cars outside. Something that was really enjoyable about drawing these two skins is that both of them had very pale patterns put onto either the skin or her gloves or the clothing, and that I got to practice my crystal drawing. They were really interesting. would have been a lot harder to do this without Procreate's Smart Object feature, where you can draw a circle or draw an arc and then you get to edit it after you've drawn the stroke. Be able to fit it perfectly into the place that you wanted it to be. It made drawing all of these swirls and circles so much easier. That's a feature that I wish was in Paint Tool Sai or other larger programs, because it just makes so much sense. It's so useful to be able to edit your line after you've drawn it without it being a vector line. In this recording you can actually see in real time my too much gene going on in the background, where in the later part I just kept adding and adding and adding, and then I had to take away some of the things in the background because it just was too much and it looked terrible. But it worked out in the end. The shading and lighting on this one was so fun, especially with all the fire and flamey effects. It was like painting with light. It was awesome. I do love drawing magic, although it's quite hard. It's a bit harder when you have a cel shaded style because magic often tends to flow out of confinement, shall we say. It's not really any hard edges in magic. Of course that could be a thing that I could work on, but I like to make magic soft and wispy, which doesn't really work with cel shading and hard lines. This is one of the few drawings where I think drawing closed eyes actually really worked. Usually when I draw closed eyes it tends to look more like I've forgotten to add the top lid, or they've got no pupils. But in this one it looks really cool. I think that's helped by the fact that the lighting is from below, so you can tell that it's closed rather than just not there. When shading, I mix between a very light desaturated purple or a darker, more saturated purple that I use with less opacity, and I tend to set it to a multiply layer or whatever the equivalent is, and then I blur it out slightly and then go over it again with more cel shading to keep those edges defined, because whenever I let my shading go too soft it just starts looking really bad and messy. I don't work well with soft shading. Here you can see the start of the too much background happening, where I was messing around with the Winter Wonderland one. As you can see, there's a lot of snowflakes behind her that are yellow instead of blue, because I was just inverting a lot of things, messing with tabs and messing with blending modes just to see what worked. Some of it looked really cool, some of it was just bad, some of it was just really, really bad. But that's what my art is. Usually ends up being, it's just me turning on and off sliders, buttons, clicking around, seeing what sticks, seeing what looks terrible, seeing what looks really overwhelming. Because sometimes also you just have to step back and think, this is too much. I can't process everything in this image because my eyes are being affronted by the amount of glowing lights. And then you have to think, maybe this is too much. And then you turn off 7 of your 13 luminosity layers, and then you think, I can see. But yeah, I really had to tone this down because the background glow was taking away from how glowy her magic was, and I thought that really sucks because the magic looks so cool, and to have your eyes be pulled directly to the blinding light from behind her head rather than looking at her face and then going down to her magic. And also, the weird floating headdress thing kind of just got a bit drowned out when it was like that. So I really had to work on pulling it down, making it a lot darker, and giving the picture room to breathe. And there we are. Thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the second part. This is my favourite of the 2 pictures. Which picture did you prefer? I like how glowy and bright and just so magical this one looks, and that's why it's my favourite. Links are in the description for places where you can find me. I have commissions open, so there's a link there on how you can commission me for your own piece of art. And thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.